Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. Look at this. I just love that butterfly, the gears. It all goes so well together. And here are the supplies that we're using today. And so I'm starting out on an 8x8 MDF board, and I am laying down some Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium to get all of my collage papers down. And I have just kind of randomly chosen some papers. A few words that in the background that actually kind of go along with my thoughts and the quote and that kind of thing. So I'm just kind of placing them around the piece, not with any intention, really. I do have available for you in the resource library that those letters there's a sheet of vintage letters that I have that will be available for you free in the resource library. There's the other part of it down there in the corner. And you are free to use that. And the sign up for the resource library will be on the blog. And the link to the blog and all of the supplies that I used today will be down below in the YouTube description box. So I use a lot of fun stencils today. So this is the Geoflower stencil. And what my thought process was is I knew that I was going to use that orange butterfly. It spoke to me and it went with what I was thinking. And so from that point, I started to choose my colors, and I used colors that were complementary to orange. So purple and greens are complementary to orange, and teal is in that green family, luckily for me, because that's my favorite color. I'm using the Mediterranean stencil, and this is a pattern 6 stencil, I think. But again, all of the stencils and everything will be listed on the blog. I love this stencil. I love the circles that happen with this stencil. So again, I'm using that orange and kind of bring in some of that from the butterfly. These are colors that I would not typically go with generally, but I'm taking a risk, and it also goes along with the quote, so it worked out really well. So now that I've got my colors down, I am using a brayer and some gesso. And I'm just going to now push that back. I'm going to unify it with the gesso. And I love using a brayer. It's quick, it's easy, it's unpredictable. It gives you some good texture along with your gesso, and just really gives you a good grungy feel. I'm just picking that back up now with my paper towel. Just kind of, what it does is it mats it down, and then it also softens it just a little bit. I'm going to come back in with some Van Dyke Brown. I've been on a kick with Van Dyke Brown lately. I go in seasons where I use things and then I forget about them, but for now it's Van Dyke Brown on my brayer to just kind of give it that grungy feel around the edges. So now I'm doing a wash instead of a glaze because I want it to be real unpredictable and just kind of watery and soft. And so a wash is just basically a watered down paint. And I've just done that with, again, my Van Dyke Brown, just kind of getting some real inconsistent grunginess on the piece. So now coming back with my brayer, and I'm doing the dance, and right now I want to make sure that what I'm putting down is going to really stand away from the background. And so I've got all that warm grungy goodness. Now I've lightened it back up so that all of the items that I put down, they're going to be dark, are going to stand out. So I've traced my butterfly because I want to place my gears and my clock in specific spots around my butterfly, and I needed to know where that was, so it's easiest to just trace it. So I've got the vintage clock or farmhouse clock. Oh my gosh, I should know my stencils. And I'm using Van Dyke Brown on my makeup sponge. And then I've got the gears stencil. And I'm just trying to place those around the butterfly in uneven fashion. I don't want it to be really even. I want it to be really organic and kind of fun. And you can see me pointing to my piece. That's because I have a monitor, and so that I can see what I'm filming. And when I point to a piece, the monitor's reversed, and so I have to show myself where it feels light or where it feels dark, and so that's what I'm doing. So now I'm just coming back in with a wash of Van Dyke Brown again to just kind of age and grunge up those gears and really separate them from the background. Putting my butterfly down with my matte medium. And now I'm just going to stencil out my word. This is the old school font, and I'm just going to stencil it out on tissue paper and put that down with my Liquitex matte medium. I've already printed out my quote that I'm going to be using for this piece, and I've cut it out. I printed it out on the computer, and I just cut it out and put it down with my matte medium as well. So I've got both my word and my quote down. And now I'm just going to begin the shading process. I will shade absolutely everything with my General's charcoal pencil. And what that does is that makes it stand away from the background. It gives it depth and dimension. It helps it pop off of your page or your piece. I will add some highlights to the butterfly with my Sharpie water-based marker, and that is it, my friends. Super simple, super easy. Stick around for the conversation at the end. It's so good. I got some emails this week that really kind of sparked the inspiration for this piece. And I also have a new workshop coming out, so I hope that you stick around for that, for the conversation about that, and you can check that out. Just doing some shading here at the very end with my black soft pastel. All right, my friends, if you enjoyed today's project, please like and subscribe. Ask any questions that you have, and I will do my best to get back to you. And I will see you next week. Well, hello, loves, and happy Sunday to you. Look at this. I just love this feeling. It just, the grunginess, the gears, all the good stuff. Oh, it's so good. The butterfly, yeah, I just love it. I went a little bit outside of my comfort zone in colors, but I wanted to bring in that orange for the butterfly, and that butterfly just, when I saw it, I knew that it went with the quote that I was wanting to talk about today, just because it's different. It's out of my comfort zone, which is good. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is a good thing. So quickly before we get into the meaning of the piece, this piece back here with the letters on it is free to you in the resource library, and the link to the library is down below, or in the blog post, and the link to the blog post is down below in the YouTube description box. So you can grab that for yourself and use it in your projects. All the stencils that I used today will be on sale. And then, long awaited, it took a while, the Collage Faces workshop is now available for 2 weeks until September 16th. It is on early bird special. You get it for $12 off, so it's $45 instead of $57. So you'll want to grab that before it goes back to its regular price. And I love this workshop because we get to really talk about about story and our story, or the story we're trying to tell in our piece. And of course, I'm all about the story. And so our faces are the perfect example, or perfect thing to create when you're wanting to really focus on a story. And so just 3 great projects for the Faces workshop. Lots of practice, lots of practice on shading and defining, and then I share my secret to getting a great face every single time. I developed this over time because I just struggled. I was so afraid of doing faces, and I finally feel like maybe not mastered it, but mastered it in my own way, in my own style, and I get to share that with you. I get to share you the system that I developed to get a good face. So I hope that you will check it out. I'll have a link to that below as well, so you can get the details and sign up and all that good stuff. So lots and lots of good stuff today. So let's get to this piece. So there's a lot of meaning in this, and the quote down here says, "Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. It means you don't let the fear stop you." And so this past week, I have gotten several emails about being so fearful, about followers, being you guys, whoever, being so fearful about something, whatever it is. It was different for every email that I received, but the core element was the same. Being fearful about something that it keeps you from moving forward. It keeps you from taking action. It keeps you from doing the thing that you need to do because of fear. And I know I talk about this a lot, but I will talk about it over and over and over because I think I need to hear it every day. Everybody needs to hear it every day that struggles with this. And here's the secret on this. Everybody's afraid. Even the ones that you think are not afraid, that have it all together, that are doing all the things, they're afraid too. Everybody's afraid of something. It's all different. And courage is about acting in that fear. It's about taking action even when you're afraid. I always say do it afraid. I do everything afraid. I'm always afraid of everything. That's my nature. I have anxiety, all those kinds of things. I'm always doing stuff afraid, but I do it anyway. And every single time that I do it, I get a little bit stronger. My courage muscles grow. I get more confidence. Every single time. Does every single time that I take a risk and do something afraid work out perfectly? No, it doesn't. But that's the learning process of it. I wouldn't want it to work out perfectly because I have taken a risk and done the thing and done it afraid, and it flopped. It didn't work out well. I reached out. I asked for a relationship and they said no. Different things like that. I mean, there's risk and fear in every single thing that we do. And if we don't love or create or dream because we're afraid, what do we have? And so I just want to encourage you today to have courage. And courage isn't perfection. Courage isn't doing it right. Courage isn't not being afraid. It's about doing the thing in spite of all of those things, in spite of our own quirkiness and weird things and things we have to overcome and anxiety or whatever it is. Courage is taking a step to get outside of your comfort zone and go after what you want. and not be afraid to ask for what you want. My gosh, this week I've gotten so many emails about people being afraid to ask for what they want. And I know it's hard. I know it. And it's still hard for me. But I've done it enough times that even though I'm still afraid, I still have the courage to ask, to do, to try. Not always, but 80%, let's say 80% of the time. So loves, I just want to encourage you today to do it afraid. Whatever it is. It can be so many things. All right, my loves, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. It's restful and peaceful. I hope you get a chance to check out the workshop, and I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.